Hey, this is Chris. Keeping it real, facts over water. How you doing? So out west, you've seen the pictures of Lake Mead by now, I'm sure. If you watch any kind of news media at all, you'll see that the water level is so much further below what it was a couple years ago, 5 years ago. I know my wife and I went out there in 2000. We were driving, no, 2006, excuse me, a different trip. 2006, that was 15 years ago. And you could already tell that the water level, you could tell where the water level generally used to be, and now you can see, I could see where it was then, and now it's like way below where that was. And so you get these lowest common denominator commentators on TV with their knee-jerk climate change agenda, and they say, well, it's because it's global warming. Everything's getting hotter. We're not getting as much rain out here. And I don't really know what the precipitation figures for the West are. And it could be that the rainfall is being depleted. I have no idea. Here's what I do know. The population out there is growing steadily, if not spectacularly. And the demand for water keeps going up and up and up. And therefore California, who is the main user of water from the Colorado River, amazingly enough, they pump it clear across California to go to Los Angeles and all these other bigger cities. The demand is what's causing the water level to go down so precipitously. It's not really the lack of rainfall. There's plenty of rainfall for a certain amount of people, but we have exceeded that certain amount of people. And nobody ever seems to think, well, we've got two curves, right? We've got the population curve, and then we've got the water supply curve, and I think they've more than met, and now the population curve is well above the water curve. And everybody wants to say it's global warming, when in fact it's just overpopulation for the amount of people that live out there. There's just simply not enough water. In all these other western states, it's not like there's a whole lot of people live in Montana, but there's more people moving there all the time. There's a lot of people that moved to Colorado. There's a lot of people that have moved to Las Vegas, Nevada, Nevada in general. I mean, the population keeps going up, and it's like if somebody doesn't take their head out of the sand pretty soon, they're not going to have any water. Or they're going to have to do something. They're going to have to ration it, or they're going to have to do something. Even where I live in the state of North Carolina, we have a somewhat fragile balance between how much rain we get and how many people live here and how much water there actually is to use. Back in 2007, we had a drought so severe that the Falls Lake, into which the Neuse River flows, for about when you cross the I-85 bridge going into Durham County, that's where the river was. Well, it still is. It's just you can't tell where it is anymore because the lake's inundated it. But you could actually, the water level had gone down so far, you could see the river, the actual river, and how it wound through. It's kind of interesting. And then you have people start talking about taking over private wells and regulating how much water those people can use. It's like, look, I drilled my own wells on my own private property. You don't have any right to my water, but it just, the whole situation just illustrated that, we need to start thinking about, instead of just saying, hey, everybody move here, we need to start thinking about, hey, everybody doesn't really need to just move here. We need to have some kind of border control, for lack of a better word, but it doesn't have to be border control per se. It just needs to be controlled by, local zoning, local regulations, state law if necessary, but, it needs to be controlled. We need to start controlling the population growth because we're not in all that dissimilar a situation. It's just not quite as obvious. But since I've seen it, I know that there's not a whole lot of difference between what's going on here and what's going on out there. We are outstripping our planets just simply by having this many people. We are outstripping our planet's ability to provide life. Slowly but surely. You know, if it weren't for the 4 or 5 tropical, if it weren't for global warming and all the tropical storms that we get up through here, we might not have enough water. I mean, seriously, if we just had natural rainfall the whole year, it might not be enough every year. So that's the counter argument to all that, right? Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, I know it's kind of a dreary subject. And I'm not being apocalyptic. I'm just saying, well, this is where the trends are heading. And I think everybody can understand and agree with that. The question is, what are we going to do about it? And is anybody going to have enough foresight to do anything about it? Or are we just going to continue to turn a blind eye to it and just continue to do what we want to do? If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate when you do. We'll see you on the next Parched video.